Orthodox Christians celebrated Christmas this past weekend. On this occasion, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a proposal to establish a truce for 36 hours. Kiev rejected this proposal for fear of possible deception by the Kremlin. Just after Christmas, the Russians shelled Kherson using incendiary munitions. Subsequent strikes in Kramatorsk and other cities in the Donbass against civilian targets occurred at the same time that Moscow established a ceasefire. Therefore, we will look more suspiciously at any further attempt by Russia to reach an agreement, as it too will probably be a ploy or simple manipulation. Russian troops have placed a lot of explosives in Ukraine. Kiev believes that the east of Ukraine is the most mined area in the world. Occasionally, heavy agricultural machinery comes across unexploded bombs or mines hidden in the ground. The inconvenience to farmers is paralyzing one of Ukraine's main industries. The Russian invasion has condemned millions of people to a life of poverty. We survived because we hid in abandoned apartments. Tanks were firing at buildings, and we escaped the fire of battle. We act as a team. We cook, we clean. People come here very tired. They are dirty because they don't even have their own clothes. In the past 24 hours, the Russians have shelled Kramatorsk. According to the Kremlin, more than 600 Ukrainian soldiers were killed in the attack. However, the residents of Kramatorsk demented these reports. No Ukrainian soldiers were stationed in the buildings shelled by the Russians. There were 2 explosions. Apart from the explosions, nothing special happened. Just an ordinary day. The sound of the explosions was very loud. Frightened people jumped up from their beds. Apparently, some people hit their toes. In the dark, it happens. Air maneuvers will begin in Belarus on January 16th and are expected to last until February 1st. Russian pilots will also take part in the exercises. Russian soldiers, including reservists called up as part of the so-called partial mobilization that has been going on since September, have been in Belarus for weeks. Their stay is related to ongoing ground troops exercises. There has already been talk since late December that the Russian Federation is assembling a new strike group to strike from the side of Belarus. According to experts, more than 300,000 conscripts have been pulled from Russia, and in fact, it is not really known how many were assigned to the Russian army during this draft. Meanwhile, the United States and Germany, in a joint statement, announced the transfer to Ukraine of U.S. Bradley infantry fighting vehicles and their German Marder counterparts. In addition, Berlin announced the transfer of Patriot batteries to Kiev. The U.S. government's decision to provide Bradley-type infantry fighting vehicles is absolutely groundbreaking. On the other hand, in my opinion, I think it is a bit late. Such vehicles were already needed by the Ukrainians in September, when the counteroffensive began. The newly announced U.S. military support package for Ukraine totals nearly $3 billion. Equipment will go to Ukraine to help especially in the fierce fighting in the Donbass.